Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be having our final review of Red Before Black by Cannibal Corpse. So I'm going to start this off by talking about overall what I didn't really like about this album after listening to it for an entire week. And one thing that was really kind of disconnecting me from this album was how similar things started to sound. In our first impressions, I said there were a lot of unique bits of songs that were jumping out at me that is really good, especially for this genre of music with death metal. It's kind of hard to find things that really jump out as unique. I feel that's kind of a pitfall of this genre. But, you know, a song like Scavenger Consuming Death, like I listen to that song and I know what it is because of how unique it is, but other songs like Destroyed Without a Trace, Firestorm Vengeance, In the Midst of Ruin, like a lot of them I can't really like put the name on them. When I hear them I'll be like, oh yeah, that one that had that little thing in it. Yeah. But I can't say, oh yeah, that's this song. And a song like Scavenger Consuming Death is like one of the only exceptions, but I'll get to that later. It's hard to really make it better. Because when I'm thinking about, okay, the issue is a lot of things are blending in. It's like, what do you expect them to do? How can this be made any better than the way, you know, I've been experiencing it?
I think there's things they can do. And they prove it in a few songs. They prove it in songs like Code of the Slashers, which that song is vastly different than everything else on the album. At least as far as the intro and outro goes, they're very different. The middle of the song kind of blends in with the rest of the album and the whole feel of the band. But that intro and outro, in my opinion, is the best thing on this album. It's just so badass. And I love how it transitions from the intro to the middle part, and then from the middle part back to the outro, which is the same as the intro, just it's changed up a bit, but it's just so cool, and it's different, and it's that type of different that they should have tried to apply to more songs, because I agree with you, there's certain songs, there's like a handful of songs on this album that just kind of are a big ball. They are all basically meshed together, and there's a little bit of little tidbits here and there in each song that does stand out, and you can tell which song it is based on, you know, certain lyrics or certain parts, or maybe a little guitar solo here or there or whatever. But for the most part, they kind of just blend in. There's nothing really that stands out that unique about them. The Code of the Slashers, I think, is a prime example of what they could have done differently. The only downfall is they only took one or two songs like Scavenger Consuming Death. Red Before Black is another one I find that stands out amongst the rest. It's very thrashy. It's just got a higher tempo, and it's more aggressive sounding than the rest of the songs. You know, so they did it right on a few tracks, but I think they dropped the ball a little bit on a lot of the tracks.
Yeah. One thing I did enjoy, though, overall, like from listening to this for a week, is that it wasn't starting to bug me. There was no point throughout the week where I felt like listening to this album became a chore for me. So it's not like the songs are bad. Like, it kept me entertained and engaged in the album. It just lacked a little bit of identity in some of the songs. Yeah. Despite how there were the little bits, it wasn't really enough to say, this is this song, with the exceptions. You said those three songs, and I agree that those ones, Red Before Black, Code of the Slashers, and Scavenger Consuming Death, are all unique in their own way, and all have something on the album that make you say, yes, this is that one.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of this album after a week?
You know, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. I didn't get bored listening to it. I enjoyed my time listening to it, but as we talked about, there was a few songs that stood out, and I'm like, oh yes, this one. Crank it up a little louder, you know, just groove to it a little more. And then there's songs that are playing, and I'm kind of going, which song is this again? Which song is this again? Oh yeah, Shedding My Human Skin, because he's basically saying, shedding my human skin, like. So it's like, if I have to wait for a certain lyric to be able to identify a song, that to me is not a great song. The songs need to be more identifiable in the riffing, in the beat, in whatever else. And I'm not saying the riffs and the beats are bad, but they're all just too similar. Cannibal Corpse has their style, they stick with it, and I think that's fine and that's great. But one of the reasons that maybe I don't like Cannibal Corpse as much as I would like to like Cannibal Corpse is maybe because they get into their comfort zone too much, and they stick with that comfort zone. Now, one thing I will say is that this album is much more aligned with the latest few albums. Whereas, you know, we were talking about this in our first impressions video, we were wondering if it's going to be kind of like the older stuff, you know, Wretched Spawn, Tomb of the Mutilated, whatever. But no, this is much more in line with Kill, with Skeletal Domain, and Evisceration Plague, those kind of albums. So, I don't know, I tend to be more of a fan of the newer Cannibal Corpse, so that's probably why I dug this album as much as I did. But yeah, I don't know, let's just get off to ratings. What do you rate Red Before Black by Cannibal Corpse?
So, I thought about this for a while, and I was looking at this album in terms of rating from a few different perspectives. I was thinking, okay, there's what I think of the album, there's what I feel that fans of death metal would think of the album, there's what I think that fans of metal in general that may or may not be specifically fans of that genre to be into this album. Personally, I thought it was good but not great. I thought there were cool parts of it. Once again, it kept me entertained throughout the week, but it wasn't, mind-blowing. Do I feel like Cannibal Corpse fans or just death metal fans would really enjoy this album? I feel like it's hard to say. I feel like it depends on what kind of flavor of Cannibal Corpse you really like.
Yeah.
As you said, last week we're like, is this going to sound like older or newer Cannibal Corpse? So if you're a fan of older Cannibal Corpse, I'm not sure if this is going to translate well for you, because it is more in line with the newer albums like Skeletal Domain, Kill, whatever. So, I've been thinking about that, and I feel like this album is not bad. Even with all of those perspectives taken into account, I feel like all of them can listen to this album and not say, "Oh, this is shit." I don't feel like anyone is gonna say this album is shit. So I also feel like it doesn't really like skyrocket out there into what's like a great album. So because of how repetitive it kind of gets, I'm gonna have to give it a 6.5. Because like I said, it's good. I just feel like it starts to just mesh around a little bit, but it has some sparks of like true individuality among songs.
It does.
So that's why I give it 6.5. How about you?
Well, you took a lot of the words out of my mouth. Tend to do that to each other sometimes. But I think this it's a testament that Cannibal Corpse is still around. They're still here. They're still going strong. Is it a Toe Tag album though? I don't think so. Not for me, not for you, obviously. It just doesn't reach that level. I think if they had a few more songs with some, Core of the Slasher style riffing, or just even that raw energy that it brings, I think it might have reached that Toe Tag level. But I'm also, I kind of compared it to other death metal releases that came out this year. Like we had some stuff from Dying Fetus this year, Suffocation. Decapitated had an album this year. Like there's some pretty good death metal albums out this year, and we did do reviews on a couple of those. So I was trying to gauge like where would I put this album among those. And I mean, I didn't give Anti-Cult by Decapitated a toe tag, and I find that album was better than this one. So there's no way I can give this one a toe tag and have it make any sense.
Yeah. So
with that said, I still really like this album. I just didn't love it. But I think I'm going to, match your score and give it a 6.5 as well. I think that's a fair score for this album. It's good, but not great. It's definitely better than average. It's still like, if you guys are fans of like the newer Cannibal Corpse stuff like we mentioned, I think we think you'll dig this album more than if you're fans of the older stuff exclusively. But I don't know. I think they put forth a valiant effort. They just dropped the ball a little bit on creativity. But it's not like they went out of their comfort zone, which is probably the problem. That's the issue. Like they stayed true to their sound, but maybe they should have hopped a hurdle here and there.
They did take a few steps outside with a few songs like Code of the Slashers and Scavenger Consuming Death, I felt. Yeah. But overall, it was still kind of within the same vein of what we've already been hearing, so it's not, it's, once again, just meshing together. But
yeah, but 2 6.5s, that's a pretty good score.
So it is. Definitely check this album out. Yeah. It's worth checking out.
At least give it a chance, yeah.
Exactly. Anyway.
And let us know what you guys think of it when you listen to it, too. Let us know in the comments below.
I'd like to know if you're a older Cannibal Corpse fan and you're willing to check out this album, I'd be interested to know what you guys would say about it.
Yeah.
With that perspective. And fans of current Cannibal Corpse, do you think this is totally in line with what they got right now? I'm curious to know.
Yep.
But that's all we got for today, guys. Let us know your thoughts below in the comments. Remember to like if you liked our video, subscribe if you want some more, tell all your friends. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.
Later.